I guess I'm giving the share because I think I have the widest beard in the community, I think. Anyway. Sure. Always. All right. Anyway, so there was a discussion brings down a discussion when he was younger about what does it mean a chassid? And one of the chassidim gave his idea. Chassid is one that's mekusheh with the Rebbe. He's bound up with the Rebbe. When the Rebbe Rashab heard that, he said that that's not yet what a chassid is. Not just being bound up with the Rebbe, but being bound up with the pu'ulas of the Rebbe. We're bound up with the Rebbe's work, with the Rebbe's activities. And we know that learning Rambam, this is the thing that the Rebbe himself instituted to learn Rambam. And as the Rebbe said, the Rebbe was happy that the Kol is spreading everywhere and all over. So I think Gimel Tammuz is also a time, especially Bashkacha Pratis, 40 years of Rambam comes out on Gimel Tammuz, the Rebbe's day. So certainly we should make a Siyum, because that's the time to make a Siyum Harambam. And the Rebbe said, learning Rambam, everybody learns the same thing, right? We can join 3 ways. The Rebbe gave us. He didn't make it hard on us. He gave us 3 ways to connect to Stakana. One way is if more, to put more work to learn 3 prakim a day. The Rebbe encouraged it very much, but he realized that we got to give some space. So he said there's also you can do 1 parak a day. Some people will do 1 parak a day because they feel they can do it, more be'iyun or whatever. And then the Rebbe gave a space that you can just do sefer mitzvahs. And he said that for children and women, for sure, they can do it. And if somebody can't really do the 1 or 3 prakim, you have sefer mitzvahs to connect with the Tikkun of the Rebbe. So today, then, by learning it, the Rebbe says it brings achdus amongst Yidden. And all Yidden learn the same thing, and especially Torah, especially halacha of Torah, that brings achdus amongst Yidden. And achdus brings Mashiach. That's the whole thing. There's no... it says very clearly, the only thing that was the reason of the goals was sinas chinam. Once we remove that problem, that obstacle, automatically Mashiach comes. So this is the Rebbe said we remove the obstacle, we are ready for Mashiach, etc., etc. So you're learning the Rambam is zin of Mashiach and Mashiach and Geula, and especially it says that in the schus, the Gemara says the schus of learning Mishnayos. Is kibbutz golius. The golius, the gula comes to learning Mishnayos. Mishnayos means halacha pesukah, straight halacha. So that's the unit of the Rambam. Same thing, Rambam. So halacha pesukah, straight halacha. This is what's going to bring Mashiach. So just make, in short, a theme on the Rambam. I don't know, whatever I put down to read over here. When it comes time, you just let me know, and then we'll stop wherever I'm up to. But let's start with the Siyum Harambam. So the last Siyum Harambam doesn't say actually Siyum, says a sicha that the Rebbe said in connection to the Siyum. Sometimes you have in Tavshin and Aleph, you see a Siyum Harambam, a whole hadron in the Bugadik, very long and very deep. The Cloud Hadronim and the Ramo very deep in Yonim and big Chedushim. In Tavshin and Beis, last time that the Rebbe gave us, it's not called the Hadron, it's called something in connection with the Siyum Harambam. In any case, so one akuda from this sicha, the Rebbe brings down from the Chazal say, mitzvahs b'teiles la'asid lavi. That mitzvahs will be cancelled in the future. So what does that mean? Mitzvah will be cancelled in the future. The way the Mefarshim learn, it means in time of Tchias HaMesim. Not going to go into the whole discussion of the Gemara, but let's just get Nekudas and just try to get something that I could understand. Maybe you could understand, but not too much is a little bit confused. Especially Gimel Tammuz, everybody is busy with Gimel Tammuz, and that's what we should be. In any case, so mitzvahs mitzvahs will be bought, will means the time of Tchias HaMesim. So the big question is, what do you mean? the Rambam says mitzvahs is forever. Torah is forever. What do you mean mitzvahs will be bottled? How could that be such a thing? No more mitzvahs. How could that be? Another thing it says that Teda, halachas of Teda will remain. Halachas of Teda will be even after Tchias HaMesim. So what does it mean? Mitzvahs will be no more. Halachas of Teda, which is also all about the mitzvah, will be later too. What does that mean? So in the Kudas Inyan, where you have to look at the Sikha yourself, because you've taken the Kuda, you can't really, you have to really understand it. You got to go back there. I'm just giving you the source. Like I think as Rabbi Kessler mentioned here, he's just giving sources, and it's hard to give over the whole thing and in this space. So just people if you're interested, you look it up yourself. This is in Sikha and Tavshin and Beis. Look at the Sikha. So the Rebbe explains that when you say halachas of Teda, or you say mitzvahs, two things: there's Teda and there's mitzvahs. If you want to separate Teda and mitzvahs, you can separate in this way. Teda, this is Teda. This is the Eibishter. This is the Eibishter state. Eibishter's Chachma. It's nothing to do with us really. The Eibishter did us a favor. He put it down to our level. The Teda, this is the Eibishter. No nafshik sovis yehovah. The Eibishter is in the Teda. When we say mitzvahs, we're mostly referring to what we have to do. A tzivu, a command to people. That's what mitzvahs is. So mitzvahs also, in essence, mitzvahs is the Eibishter's ratzin. The Eibishter's will, nothing to do with us. The Eibishter's ratzin, the Eibishter's chachma. It's all about the Eibishter. But when we're saying mitzvahs, b'teilis, lasud lavei, we're referring to mitzvahs as they relate to us. As we are people down in this physical earth, and the Eibishter gives us a command. So this thing in mitzvahs itself, of course, is not bottled. It's the Eibishter's ratzin. There can't be a change. This is the Eibishter himself. So the meaning is that the idea of mitzvahs being commanded to us, that will be bottled. What does that mean? Because after Tchias HaMesim, since till Tchias HaMesim, especially now, we do Torah mitzvahs all the time. We're bringing Torah mitzvahs into our life. And the more we do it, the more we bring it into our life. Mashiach will come, right? We know it was learned already, we learned about the two kufas. There's the first period of Mashiach, the second period of Mashiach, right? Tchias HaMesim is the second period. In the first period of Mashiach, mitzvahs and Torah will be complete. The whole meaning of the first period of Mashiach is that then we'll be able to do Teda and mitzvahs 100%. Like the Rambam brings down, the whole thing is that this is the meaning of Mashiach. And Pashat do halacha, do everything the way you're supposed to do, all the minhagim, and every pitch of Teda and minig is going to be. You're supposed to do it now, but now we're limited. Scientists are limited from inside our own nefesh hamis, and we have other limitations. You can have the Beis Hamikdash. Mashiach will come, will be Teda and mitzvahs, unbelievable, mode complete. So in the first kuf of Mashiach will be done with Torah mitzvahs permeated us 100%. When that happens, we become one with the Eibishter. Because mitzvah means tzafzer. Mitzvah means connection. Every time we do a mitzvah, we connect with the Eibishter. So the ultimate connection with the Eibishter will be in the second kufa of Mashiach. That will be realized because in the first kufa, we already did everything complete. We're perfect. We did Torah mitzvahs and we're permeated. There's no part of us, no part of our body, no part of our life that's not filled with mitzvahs. So in the second period, Tchias HaMesim will become mamish one with the Eibishter. Like it says, Araisa, Kochabrichu, Kulachad, the Torah, and the Eibishter, and the mitzvahs, and the Yidden is all one. So after Tchias HaMesim, there's nobody to command. When a commandment means there are two things. There's a commander and the one that's being commanded. But when we become one with the Eibishter, there's nothing to tell. We're not a separate entity. So with no mitzvah, that's the idea, mitzvahs b'teilis. Mitzvahs will be there. The Eibishter does mitzvahs. So we'll also do mitzvahs like the Eibishter does mitzvahs. Mitzvah will be automatic. It's not like we have to be commanded, put on film. We'll be putting on film, it's like, it's obvious. It's like comes by itself, natural. It's not we have to have a commandment. That's the taich mitzvahs b'teilis lasad lavei. The idea of mitzvahs, of giving, of being separate from Elokus and having to be commanded, that will be bottled because we'll be mamish one with the Eibishter. And with this, the Rebbe also explains another inyan, also a big question about when it says that, like said, well, this is Pirkei Avos. It said this week coming up, we're learning in Pirkei Avos about Machlokes Hashem Shemayim, that Machlokes Hashem Shemayim is Seifel Eskayim. When there's a Machlokes Hashem Shemayim, that Machlokes remains forever. What's the example? Hillel and Shammai. That Machlokes Hillel and Shammai being is Hashem Shemayim. So it's Machlokes that stays. It never always stays. Question is, what do you mean the Machlokes always stays? Today we do like Beis Hillel, we don't do like Beis Shammai. So where's Beis Shammai? Okay, Beruchnius. Beruchnius, it's there. But the Pearl Mamish down here on earth, we're only doing Beis Hillel, not Beis Shammai. So what do you mean Machlokes stays? Okay, so then it says that Arizal tells us Mashiach will come. There'll be another Sanhedrin, and that Sanhedrin will be greater in Chachma than the earlier Sanhedrin that passed in like Beis Hillel, right? And there'll be a greater minion of Chachamim, meaning the Sanhedrin is the same minion, but the Chachamim generally will be much greater than ever before. So they will re-paskin. They're going to paskin like Beis Shammai. So the Rizal says Mashiach comes, we're going to do like Beis Shammai. Okay, so now we have Beis Hillel doing and Beis Shammai. But then again, so we'll do like Beis Shammai, not like Beis Hillel. So again, it's not Machlokes is staying in. No Machlokes. We do either Beis Shammai or like Beis Hillel. There also gives a bigger, also a question. What do you mean? Thousands of years, you're not doing like Beis Hillel. All of a sudden, Mashiach comes. Forget about Beis Hillel. Now we have Beis Shammai. What is this? We're supposed to go higher, not taking away things. So the Rebbe explains also from that Rizal. The Rizal says that ultimately we'll be doing like both. What do you mean doing like both? How can you do like both? It's a contradiction. If you light the first night of Hanukkah 1 candle, or you light 8 candles, how can you do like 1 and 8? I mean, how does that work? I was thinking that. Okay. All right, good. But in any case, so the Rebbe explains that the Rizal says we'll do like both is talking about after Tchias HaMeisim. In the Tkufa, before Tchias HaMeisim, we're still down here on earth. We're separate, we're physical people. We can only do like one, either Beis Shammai or Beis Hillel. We can't do both. Because in the physical world, that's the way it works. But after Tchias HaMeisim, when we and the world, not just we, the world itself will be mamish one with the Eibishter. Everything will be included with the Eibishter himself. And just like by the Eibishter, there's no contradiction. Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. By the Eibishter is nim lahanim nois. It goes together. Beis Shammai Beis Hillel is all together in Hashem's ratzin, Hashem's the Chachma and Ratzin of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's no contradiction to Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. Both of them are correct and both of them work together. So that level of Beis Shammai Beis Hillel, the way it is by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the way it is in this Ratzin and in this Chachma, that's going to be down here. Down here meaning because down here will be that the same thing. That level of godliness, of Elokus, will be mamish down here in Eilam Hazeh Tachti. That level will be mamish with one with the Eibishter. So Beis Shammai still works together. There's no contradiction. Noise. That's some of the kudus from that sikha in connection with the Siyum Harambam. Then there's maybe someone can help me out, because it seems to me the Rebbe gives in this sikha a chiddush, which is a tremendous chiddush, if I understand it correctly. If somebody has what to say about it, because really I like to know the shot here. We know that the Rambam says in Hilchos Tshuva that why did the Chacham want Mashiach? So we can we can sit in Torah, no problems, we can get involved, and in this way, Yizku l'chayi ha'olam haba. That way will merit to have chayi ha'olam haba. What's chayi ha'olam haba? So the Rambam says chayi ha'olam haba is neshamas without gufim. In other words, the way we understand always the Rambam is, and the Mepharshim understand that the Rambam holds the ultimate schar for Torah mitzvahs is chayi ha'olam haba, which is neshamas without gufim. The Ramban argues, no, Tchias HaMeisim, Neshamas Begufim, that's the ultimate. Chassidus Chabad says, no, Neshamas Begufim, Tchias HaMeisim, Neshamas Begufim, that's the ultimate schar. They argue with the Rambam. This Sikha, the Rebbe says, again, it's my understanding, that no problem. The Rambam agrees with everything. He agrees with us. Okay, I'm not going to go. It's a little bit go into all details, but he brings down the. We should say the last halacha Rambam anyway, because as Siyum is supposed to say the last halacha. So in the last two halachas of Hilchas Malachim, in halacha Daled, the Rambam talks about, like we just mentioned, of Hilchas Tshuva, that the Nevi'im and Chachamim wanted Mashiach so they can sit, not because we will rule over the nations and all this political stuff, but we want that to be able to enjoy our food and drink and merit and party. Not, we wanted Mashiach so we should be free, be able to learn Torah and the Chachma of Torah. Nothing should stand in the way, so we can merit the Chayei Olam Haba. Says it again, same thing. Then in Halacha Hey, he says, I mean inside, because that's the way you make a Siyum. But he says, man, at that time, when Mashiach will come, there will be no hunger, no wars, nobody will be jealous, there won't be competition, because the good will be very much hashpal, a lot of good. All the delights, all the geshmaka things that we are involved in, this will be like earth, like nothing, like dust. The whole world will be filled just in the knowledge of Hashem. The Rebbe says the whole world, even not Jews, will be filled in just concentrating on the knowledge of Hashem. Therefore, the Eden will be, now he's talking about Eden. Eden will be great Chachamim, and they will to know the hidden and deep things of Elokus. And they will comprehend the das of the Creator the way a person is able to comprehend. Like it says in the pasuk, that the whole world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem, just like the waters covers the sea. So the Rebbe says the last halacha of the Rambam, and the halacha Dala, he talks about learning so we can merit Olam Haba. That's still talking about today, first period of Mashiach. Fourth Tchias HaMeisim, we're still on our own. We're still people. We sit and learn, and we're talking about schar, reward, etc. That's the before Tchias HaMeisim. The last halacha, the Rambam is, so to speak, the Rambam is here to give us halachas, what we need to do. So that's his focus, what we need to do. In the last halacha, he hints to us the next period after Tchias HaMeisim, which is also a halacha, but it's not focusing. It's like a remes. That after Tchias HaMeisim, he doesn't talk about any more about reward. Nobody's talking about reward. Reward is, if I'm somebody, I need a reward. If we're one with the Eibishter, that is the reward. There's no reward. One with the Eibishter, no talk about rewards. So in the last halacha, this is referring to the time of Tchias HaMeisim, that there'll be just Deis Hashem, like the waters covers the ocean, the whole world will be one mitzvah with the Eibishter. So that's Tchias HaMeisim. So that is the ultimate. That's what the Rambam also saying. The Rambam doesn't talk about it. He talks about the ultimate reward is neshamas without gufim. That's reward. We talk about schar. That's before Tchias HaMeisim. But when we talk about Tchias HaMeisim, that's already past schar. That is the schar. What is the schar? That's the whole what is schar. It's being one with the Eibishter. That's what Tchias HaMeisim is about. And the Rambam agrees with it. Anyway, that's why I understood the sikha. Seems to be clearly in the sikha, but I'm afraid because we know it's. I'm there for anybody, and I know everywhere you're learning different. So I would be happy if somebody looked at the sikha and would tell me if we'll have a comment on it or whatever. There must be already comments on it. Anyway, so let me now, since finishing the Rambam, you got to go to the beginning, right? That's the way it works. When you finish, you got to start from the beginning. So the first halacha, you say this, Amud HaChachmos, Leida Sheyesha Motzadishin. You say this, the foundation of all foundations and the pillar of all chachmas, like we know, the Rambam hinted in this Yud Kei Vav Kei, matter that Rambam was a big Mekubal, and he hid the Yonim Kabbalah, which in that time weren't allowed to go openly with Kabbalah, so he hid the Yonim Kabbalah in his Sfarim. So Yud Kei Vav Kei is hidden in these first four words. So what is we say to know there's a Motzadishin? Yes, Sham Motzadishin, only Sham. The Rebbe says Sham refers to usually Makom HaKlippus. Even in Makom HaKlippus, even when there's a Hesed, you don't see Elokus. Yes, Sham Motzadishin. Right there is Motzadishin. Motzadishin, the Rebbe says, means Motzadishin is where the Eibusha already is putting himself in a way to relate to creation. That's Motzadishin. Who? And this Motzadishin, Mamtzi Kohanim Tzoyim. All in Siyum, all things that come out from comes from the Motzadishin. And all the Nimtzayim, also Adiyah, Kumamti Kohanim Tzoyim. Not he created, he is creating, because the creation is all the time. Every second we're being created. And all the Nimtzayim, Mashmayim V'aletz, and what's in between, all come from the mitzvah matzah, all come from the emeskite mitzvah matzah. This is the ending of the Rambam. I don't know if it's time. If it's time, it's time. If not, there's I had other things to say, but whatever you let me know. I don't know the story. All right, a little more. I'll say that again. Say what's from the Maimer. The Maimer is also with Chedushim. The Rebbe's Maimer is all everything. The Rebbe's Chedushim. But the English Maimer that Rebbe gave his last Maimer was Mamish tremendous Chiddush. Right? Just very, very Nekudidik, because have to give everybody their schus of time that they need to do all the things they need to give Tamas. So the Rebbe talks about Moshe Rabbeinu is Megala Detzman Shama. Every Yid believes in the Eibishter, no question. You go wherever you go, Yid believes in the Eibishter. But that the Amunah doesn't necessarily affect the person. He's not in sync with the Amunah. He believes, but he lives his life. Why? Because that Amunah is higher. It comes from a Madrega, which is too high for us. So it's too high. It's makif. It doesn't come. You can't contain it inside. So Moshe Rabbeinu, in every generation, he's the one that is Megala, the Etzeman Neshama, which by tapping into the Etzeman Neshama, then the Emunah, which seems to be so higher than us, can be internalized. Etzeman Neshama has the ability, our Etzeman Neshama, which is one with the Eibishter, that gives the Kayach, that the Emunah that every Yid has should be part of us. We should be able to live with the Emunah. We should be able to understand, learn Elokos like Chabad, and do mitzvahs and act like the Emunah asks from us. That's Moshe Rabbeinu, that's what he does. Then he goes on in the Maimer. Another thing you find is what Moshe Rabbeinu accomplishes brings us to an idea of Mesiras Nefesh. In a time when good, so we have the Emunah, we can learn, we can daven, because that's a man shama. But then it comes a time where we can't. We have challenges. We're not let to learn and daven and do mitzvahs. And Mesiras Nefesh is something. Who wants to Mesiras Nefesh? I mean, a person wants to be himself. Who wants to give himself up? It's against the teva of a person to be Mesiras Nefesh. It's not part of it's not a teva of a person. So Moshe Rabbeinu, which gives us the kayach from Mesiras Nefesh. Again, with the Etzeman Shama, since the Etzeman Shama is one with Elokus, so if it's one with Elokus, it's nothing about us. We give ourselves away. Mesiras Nefesh. That's what's also come to Moshe Rabbeinu. Then he goes to a third Madrega, which I think that is the Chiddush. Third Madrega, where you don't need Mesiras Nefesh. You can sit and learn. You can daven. You have Gashmias. You have everything you need Baal Chava, and everything's fine. And still, to be Sutreisut, means, okay, everybody knows. I mean, ask anybody, just what Mashiach. You happy the way you are now? I'm not happy. But you can still doesn't change his life, doesn't he can still go on with life. He says Sitreisel means you have no life, you're crushed. I mean, your whole core is Sitreisel. I mean, you can't go on. I mean, obviously, that's not, you're supposed to go on, but you want from Mashiach is something that takes your core, the etzem of yourself. How could that be? Because that is also comes from the etzem anshama. But in order for that we should bring it into our lives, that we should have to feel that way. That when we're learning, we feel we're not done. We learn, but we're learning the Shema. This is really learning. Doing the mitzvah, really doing the mitzvah way for the Eibishter. To really be given over, that we really feel we're missing Elokus. That's Mashiach. To give Elokus, really feel it. So the Rebbe says, the Kayach comes from the Moshe Rabbeinu, but the work comes from the Yid himself. This is something that every Yid has to do on his own. One thing he says in the Maimer, if you misbeinen, that you're standing there and the Beis Hamikdash is Charem in front of your eyes, right? You know, for Mesicha. You're standing there. If you're misbeinen in it, you can feel that. Imagine you picture to yourself. The Rebbe says, heart of rock, and he's standing there, and in front of his eyes, his meat is being destroyed. It's impossible not to melt, not to fall apart. And from misbeinen in it, that's actually happening every day. The idea of the Churbeis Hamikdash. So this is what the Rebbe says in the Maimer, to be Sitreisel. That's the work that we have to do. And by doing that, we reveal even a higher level of Etzman Shama, which Moshe Rabbeinu, he reveals Etzman Shama, but there's a level which is even greater. How the Etzman Shama is Mushish Ba'atzmus, how it's one with the Eibishter himself. The Etzman Shama, it's Mamish, one with the Eibishter, that is brought out through our work by being Sitreisel. That and that has to do our Aveda, that we have to come to that, to feel that Sitreisling, and that we need Mashiach, we need Elokus. And okay, I'll just end off with an interesting thing. It's also part of the Maimer. It says in the Maimer that the Alter Rebbe, like the Rebbe, Alter Rebbe would say, Ich will ze gar nicht, I don't want anything. Ich will nicht dein Gan Eden. I don't want your Elam Haba. I don't want, I just want you, I want Atzmus. This is what Alter Rebbe used to say. So I saw something very interesting. It's also, I think, the union of, we don't even realize what the Nisim do for us. A Nasi brings in, the whole Hashpah in the world comes from a Nasi. Anything you see in the world, any good thing, it's all from the Rebbe, because that's the program. The Eibishter makes a Nasi, and he's the sinner for all good things, all blessings are coming to the world. So you see how we don't even realize what the Nisim accomplished for us. So I just saw a word from I hope I find it in time, but in any case, so the Frierdiker Rebbe says that usually the Alter Rebbe would say that, but there is here it is. A few days before the Alter Rebbe's Istalkus, he said like this: I don't want you Gan Eden, Tachten in Elyon, and then he said, Ich weiß die Geluyim von Gan Eden Tachten. I know the revelations of Gan Eden Tachten. Ich weiß die Geluyim von Gan Eden Elyon. I know the revelations of Gan Eden Elyon. Ich weiß die Geluyim von Chochmah Atzilus. The Alter Rebbe is saying, I know the revelations of Chochmah Atzilus. Ich weiß die Geluyim ha'atzmiyim. Was Chochmah Kasiyah Nachsheves. I know the revelation, the essence of revelation, where Chochmah of Atzilus and Asiyah is mamish one. Then the Alter Rebbe says, Gib avek mein ganzen Mesiras Nefesh. As Buayid wird dir etwas beten, bis Mashiach wird kommen. Sollst dem Herren with the Herz at Tzaddik Gomor Shoshana. The Rebbe said, I'm giving away my whole Mesiras Nefesh, that when a Yid, till Mashiach, asks something from the Eibishter, the Eibishter should listen to him just like he listens to a Tzaddik Gomer and Rosh Hashanah. And then just one last thing, and then he says, wherever Yid will do something with Mesiras Nefesh, and will say, Elecha Avaya Nafshi Yesa, will sein mit ihm und ihm helfen. I'll be there and I'll help. Sheikh now.
We have a very small crowd, and we have tons of food left over, and we don't have buffer to eat. Please take it to your wives. It doesn't have to go to the garbage.